Welcome back to our 9 Minutes Enough, our EdTech podcast here at Region 9. I'm Christy Johnson.
I'm Brady Dalton.
And it is January 2026, so Happy New Year.
Yes, ma'am.
I think this is a great time to think about just some ways we can reset.
Yeah.
I think mid-year is a perfect time to reset. Mm-hmm. One of the things we talk about with our first-year teachers is kind of a little acronym for that reset. So I thought that'd be a good way to start off this year for us.
Yeah.
If we think about reset, we can think about reflecting, evaluating, sharing those things, establishing, and tracking. Okay, that sounds like a whole lot. So let's break that down.
Yeah, what does that mean?
I think that reflecting part is really thinking about what's working and what's not. And I think that goes for our lives in general, but I think it also goes for the classroom.
For sure.
So, what are some things that you might have done to either reflect yourself or even help your students reflect?
Yeah, and I don't think it wants to be something where you're focusing on like the grades. I mean, you're absolutely evaluating those. Like, what did we learn? What did we not learn? But how was I connecting with my students?
Oh, I love that.
What types of lessons was I doing that the kids were engaged and they were happy to be there and they're excited?
Yeah.
And which forms of teaching was I using that it didn't land? The kids weren't into it.
And I think that's important. We have to be able to say, you know what, it didn't work.
Yeah.
Like, let go of that particular lesson or that it could be that technology that we just love, but it's not working. So I think that reflective piece is really hard. We don't often have times for it, though.
Yeah, and I think like as a teacher or a parent or an adult or anyone who has any kind of sense of control, when it's something that, hey man, I'm jazzed about this lesson, right?
Yeah.
And the kids aren't, that's hard.
Oh, it's so hard.
It's like, I love this one. I'm so excited to do it. And it's not. And so as the adult, the one in charge, you have to be like, okay, I love it, but just because I love it doesn't mean it's got to be a 3-week lesson, right? This one might be a 2-dayer and we're moving on.
And I think that leads perfectly to that next piece of that reset little acronym, that evaluate what is working and what's not.
Yeah.
Maybe we don't have to chunk the whole thing.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just a piece of it that's not working, or the way we did something, or we just need to add another step in or something like that. So I think that evaluate piece is important. Where was it strong? Where was it weak?
Yeah, and I think it's kind of like taking your daily and expanding it on to like your monthly, because we talked with people who've been teachers where you're teaching, maybe you are teaching the secondary level. We were teaching five periods of the same thing, right? So your first one's never going to be the same as your fifth one.
Never.
And so it's like, okay, at the fifth one, was I talking about the same thing? I don't remember, but like you've tweaked it throughout the day. And that's the same thing you do throughout your year, is you're tweaking it. Your fifth month should not look like your first month.
Yeah.
You're knowing your students better. You're knowing yourself better. You're knowing your classroom better. And it's got to look different.
Yes. Well, and I think, sometimes in January things change. You have new students, schedules might change, things like that. So it's a perfect time to say, is this still working? Is it not working? Is it going to work with this group the same way? So that S piece is important, though, and that's sharing. And that's sharing what our new strategy might be with our it might be with colleagues. It might just say, hey, I'm going to try this.
Yeah.
But it might be with the students.
Absolutely.
Like, hey, this didn't work. We're going to shift gears here.
Yeah, and even like asking those students, give me your input. And like you can even ask the second grader this.
Yes, you can.
Like, what was your favorite thing we did this semester?
Yes.
Like, can you tell me those things that you remember doing?
Oh,
and if they can't tell you anything, they don't remember, that's your sign.
Your clue. That's it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Which leads to that next piece really well. Like, establish, like, okay, so what is the new going to look like? What is my new strategy, my new tool, my new process, my new routine, my new rule? I mean, there's so many things that this could apply to, but what is that going to look like? And then we put it into place. So we explain it, we practice it, we try it, we do all those things so that it gets kind of rooted into what we do.
And I think it's also important to remember that, like, you might have the same kids again. Yeah. You might not. But let's say you do. It still kind of feels like a new year to them.
Oh, absolutely.
They've been off for 2 weeks. You've been off for 2 weeks. They've been vegging out. Hopefully you have been as well.
Yes.
And so like getting back into those norms and readdressing those things that, hey, we did well here. We didn't do well here. And here's how we're going to get better.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then that last little T would be track. I think it's important for us to say, okay, is this making the difference that I hope it's making? If I didn't like this rule or this procedure or the way we were doing something, is the new one doing any better? And we have to know, and whether that's through engagement or through our own just reflective practices, or it is through, like you said, maybe some surveys or things like that.
Yeah.
Is this working? Is this better? I think that's kind of a great place to be in January, is in that reflective mindset. On whether or not we can do it. So I think it's all about, kind of goes back to that purpose and intentionality of what we do.
Yeah.
And whether that's with ed tech or not. And I think I'm seeing kind of a swing right now of resetting to some of the things that are a little more old school.
Right.
I've actually heard a lot of conversations about going back to paper pencil. And as an ed tech person, I'm not sad about that.
Sure.
If we're using what we're using purposefully, then we're great. So
yeah, I think that like when you start the school year, whether it be your admin team, your tech team, or just like all the vendors in the world, they're pushing hard.
Yeah.
Like they want you to use these products. They're giving you all the freebies. It's always, oh, you get freebies for like 6 months or whatever. And so this might be the time period where that's starting to fall off.
Oh. And
you're finding, okay, these were great while we had them, but now maybe we lose functionality, or maybe it's just burnout. And it's like, hey, these were really fun and exciting while we were learning it. But now we talked about when we were evaluating those things, were they mindful? Were they purposeful? Were we getting growth in our kids that we were hoping to get? And if not, we need to evaluate that.
And I think that's a perfect January activity, right? It's time to declutter. I mean, that's our, I don't know about you, but kind of that's what we do over Christmas break, is out with the old and in with the new kind of thing.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so I think the same thing can go for our digital assets and our digital resources.
Yeah. Clean them out of my daughter's closet. Get rid of all the Barbies, get rid of all the toys.
All the stuff, right? All the stuff. Well, I think that kind of is a perfect little lead into, what are some of your resets this January? Is there anything you're leaning towards, decluttering from your life?
Yeah. So I've talked about this before in another podcast about being intentional with like what I'm doing on my phone. Literally last night, I deleted all of my social media.
Oh my goodness.
Did it last night. Sometimes, something happens and you just make like whatever flipped in your brain.
Yeah.
I just did it. Like I didn't think about it. I just deleted them all. And so just trying to be more mindful in what I'm doing with my time.
I love that.
But then on top of that, like getting more into reading. And I'm actually trying to not read digitally.
Oh, really?
So I'm going to try and read like actual books.
Okay.
And so hopefully my wife doesn't listen to this and she can't hold me accountable because, we'll see how it goes. But things like that. And then also like intentionality with our kids and time. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Like life is hard. Kids are moving a million miles an hour.
And they need to reset too.
And just like, hey, like when school gets back, like we can just take it slow. Like we don't have to rush and go crazy. Like let's just enjoy the day. For sure.
So that's interesting. I just listened to a podcast a couple weeks ago about a lady whose weekly rhythm is on Wednesday night. She actually deletes her social media.
Oh, okay.
And she does it on a weekly basis. So she deletes it from Wednesday to Sunday.
Oh.
But because her business and her work depends on it, she puts it back on Sunday, deals with it Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, and then Wednesday night, it's gone again.
I like
that.
So
she's just building in a rhythm of that reset.
Yeah, because I've tried it where it's like, oh, I'll just do it like on the browser on my phone. And that's like a little bit harder. And it's really not. It just is a more annoying experience.
Just another step.
And so I really like that idea of doing that, because the same way where I've had positions where like you are required to be on that.
You've got,
but even here, I'll be honest, people, like there's times when I have to get on social media here and you are going with full intention to do work. And you get attacked by all the things that are distracting. You realize I've been on here for 10 minutes and I've not done work. Yeah. And so like that's really hard to manage for sure.
Yeah, I think that workflow reset is really what I'm looking for this year. Just balancing it out and getting a few more rhythms and routines in, kind of like that weekly reset that I can just know that, okay, hey, it's Monday, I'm planning this and this. And, it's Tuesday, I'm going to do these things. And it doesn't have to be rigid necessarily, but I do want it to kind of have that flow to it so that there's just, like I say, that rhythm, that routine.
Yeah, I think it helps you, like, even if I'm not doing this like crazy, maybe I'm not doing it for 3 hours a day, but just like, hey, I'm touching in on these things in my life on these days. Yeah. And it helps you kind of stay grounded, I think.
Well, and that way, the things that are purposeful and the things that are intentional and meaningful and important to me, I do have a touch point with. Yeah. And they don't just slide through. And that's what happens so much just in our lives, in our classrooms. Reflection tends to go out the window. So, if you build those routines in, I think, it's one of those powerful tools that you can really use.
Yeah. And I think as teachers, it's kind of like you're so focused on all your goals and everything that they're putting on you, that your admin, which whether you want to say it's valid or not, like that they're putting on you, hey, these are the things you have to meet, and it's external. Yeah. How often do you get to do internal reflection? It's always where it's like, these are things that I want to grow, and not things that are forced upon me, but things that I as an individual want to grow, whether it be in my personal or my business life.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's hard. But January is a great time to think about those things, to put some of those things into practice. So so one of the rhythms that we're shifting around a little bit is our work here. Yeah. We are actually going to do these podcasts twice a month now. So super excited about bringing just a few more topics out there into the world. But we are also going to do a little shifting of maybe moving some of our things to Mondays so that they get out to everyone in a way that maybe they'll be able to see it before the weekends. And we don't want to put any pressure on the weekend. definitely not wanting people trying to open things on Fridays when they're trying to shift gears into relax mode. So we're going to do a little shifting as well. So looking forward to it.
And if you see me wearing the same shirt at multiple podcasts,
that's why.
It's not the only shirt. I've got multiple shirts. I do like this one, but we might do more than one in a day.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
Maybe so. All right. Well, until next time, right?
Yep.
All right. See you soon.